Hello friends, myself Darshana and my friend Queen Ilabo. We are presenting on article critic qualitative research. The title of the research is a one-year case study, understanding the rich potential of project-based learning in virtual reality class for high school students. Summary of the research is the paper presents a qualitative case analysis of a new and unique high school student-directed project-based learning in virtual reality class. Problem statement of the research. The research show that project-based learning can work well even with a little teacher's help. This suggests a promising way of teaching that could be great for some students. It needs more study to make sure it helps students learn on their own and with peers as much as possible. Need of research. This study used detailed classroom observations, students' interviews, analysis of projects, and survey of parents and teachers to look at how students learn and interact socially in class. It also explored what students learn through their projects. Research purpose. There are two goals of the research. First is to observe how learning happened in the class where there wasn't a teacher and students learn mainly from each other. The second aim was to understand how students learn. Researchers wanted to see how well students understood science through their projects and discussion about them. Knowledge gap. So in this research, focus is on the effectiveness of project-based learning and gaming and virtual reality-based projects impacts. The research questions of this research are divided in different parts. The first is how does students-led learning in teacher-less classroom where students predominantly learn from each other impact their interactions, projects learning outcomes, and behavior. The second question is how do collaborative dynamics and the development of social and cultural norms influence the establishment of a learning community? The third is how do students engage in learning process while creating virtual reality projects? The fourth is what academic knowledge, understanding, and problem solving skills do students demonstrate through their virtual reality projects? Next is to what extent do students' virtual reality projects reflect their understanding of science concepts? And last one is how do discussions about virtual reality projects contribute to students' comprehension of scientific concepts? Research method is uh, the research is divided in two goals basically how learning activity in virtual reality class occurred through students' interactions. Goal identified that describing the students' learning that occurred. Identify the questions. The question is what were the students' social interaction in this class and how did they influence project development and students' learning? And the second question is what academic content, knowledge, understanding, and problem skills were demonstrated in student projects? Then finally, in research procedure, it has been identified that the case study adopting worldviews and interpretivisms. And then finally, conclusion has been identified. In research procedure, the procedure is followed and in that procedure, first of all, study participants has been identified. The study participants were 31 students, 8 students for focus group observations, 3 experienced students for formal interviews, 8 teachers, 30 13 parents of the students participants. The meeting venue was generally it's same place, that is online, face to face was there, because in this research the communication is done with the parents of students as well as teachers. Level of analysis. So basically this research is identified in two level of analysis. One is external and second is internal. Research techniques for data collection has been used different according the level of analysis. So video recording of 18 hours virtual reality class period is used for to identify social dynamics. Non-participants unstructured classroom observation is done. Formal interviews with semi-open questions is performed. Online survey for teachers and parents is also done to collect the data for external identifications or for social dynamics. For academic learning, students' virtual projects and the 3D models has been studied. Non-participants unstructured classroom observation is part of academic learning. Formal interviews with semi-open questions are also part of academic learning, and online surveys for teachers and parents are also plays roles for academic learning. And unit of analysis are used, that is on the basis of incidents occurred, group and individual theme and color coding is used. Basically, the researchers are identifying the points, certain topics, and then when they conclude and when they satisfied together, they are using certain color coding theme. Data collections for the research was, the study relies on 5 data sources. Video recording of virtual design class along with observational notes, focus group observations, formal interviews conducted with 3 experienced students, sample of student projects, and online survey administered for both teachers and parents. Data analysis for the research is, the spiral process was used to analyze the data. This qualitative process consists of indexing and labeling the data, identifying themes to organize the data into categories, assigning abbreviated codes, subcodes, and subcategories to the identified theme, and discovering, triangulating, and connecting emergent categories before stating credible interpretations of the data. This analytical model proceeds as a series of cyclic steps of analysis, incrementally moving forward to the final interpretations. Finally, the results of study has identified on the basis of questions like, what were the students' social interaction in the class and how did they influence project development and student learning and behavior. So it has been identified on category of incidents and number of incidents in 2 parts. So total incidents observed was 244. Incidents related to research was 116, and the questions of social dynamics, on the basis of that there are different criteria identified like a play, peer monitoring teachings, online peer teachings, collaboration non-teachings, and global and incidents related to research, and the results has been identified. And question 2 is academic learning, and different criteria are identified like computer language, science concepts, math concepts, other academic content concepts, and problem solving. And for that, results has been identified. So the result of another question is what academic content, knowledge, understanding and problem solving skills were demonstrated in student projects. So the number of observed incidents involving academic content was 154 out of 244. That is 53%. The benefit observed is the sense of belonging and self-confidence this project has given certain students who would otherwise not feel a sense of value or academic worth. Thus, the virtual reality program validates students' ability.
Discussion. In order to strengthen the validity of the conclusion reached, this section carefully examines the research finding in light of the goals of the study and the context of the literature. The conversation incorporates findings from several sources, including surveys, observation, and student project, to offer a thorough grasp of the influence of the VR design course. The discussion does a good job of drawing the students' results to accepted theoretical frameworks, proving the conclusion theoretical coherence, and supporting their veracity. A critical examination of the data, which includes a comparison with earlier research and the discovery of trends and contradiction, deepens the conversation and supports the conclusion. Since the research aim and data from studies are in line with the conclusion reached, the research finding can be considered reliable in general. A synopsis of the study's key finding and a clear summary of the results and their implications are given in this conclusion. By bridging the gap between research and practice, the research indicates that the DBR can inform the design of learning environments augmented by technology. The implication section gives the study's applicability in educational contexts more legitimacy by demonstrating a logical extension of the research finding and conclusions. Consistency and coherence between the research outputs and their possible practice applications are ensured by the close alignment of the implication with the study's primary findings. The limitation. The study covers the difficulty of integrating DBR into educational environment as well as the requirement for continuing assistance and resources. The study notes that extrapolating results to other situations present certain difficulties. Recognizes drawbacks such as the small sample size, possible biases in self-reported data, and difficulty extrapolating the result to different situations. Future research. They should look into other tactics to help with DBR implication in classroom. In addition to analyzing the long-term effect of DBR on student learning outcomes, this should involve looking into how technology can support collaboration and interaction. The critic. Transferability. Sufficient description. The report offers thorough explanation of the VR design courses, covering its development, application, and spread to additional educational institutions. Maximum variation. One way to maximize variety and improve the findings. Transferability is to include various schools in the Visual Reality Educational Partnership Pathfinders initiatives. Triangulation. To increase credibility, the research combined information from multiple sources, such as student project, observation, questionnaires from parents and teachers. Credibility, member checking. Although it isn't mentioned specifically, it could have increased credibility by enabling participants to confirm that data interpretation are accurate, saturations. Judging from the variety of data sources and the high level of student, parents, and teacher participation, it looks that the study has reached saturation in terms of data gathering. Alternative explanation. The study offered different explanation for some students' experience in the VR design class while acknowledging the constraints and difficulty they encountered. Research journal. Although the study doesn't specifically identify one, it gained credibility from being published in an academic journal that is subject to peer review, which implies a thorough review procedure. Peer review. The publication of the study in a respectable peer review journal lends credibility to it because it shows that the research has been reviewed by specialists in the field. Consistency. Multiple analysis. By involving several researchers in the data analysis process, interrelated reliability may have been enhanced and findings may have been interpreted consistently. Members checking, although again it isn't stated specifically, participant validation of interpretation may have improved their consistency in it. Also, the peer review examine the research manuscript's consistency and coherence in terms of approach and finding is probably what peer review looked for. Academic journal, but being published in a reputable research publication indicates that methodological rigor and consistency requirements are being followed. Conclusion. The research rigorous methodological approach, which include techniques to promote transferability, credibility, and consistency, appears to have produced generally reliable results, particularly for those created using a design-based research approach. The result can be utilized to guard the development and application of technology-enhanced learning environment. Nevertheless, before putting the research conclusion into the world, great thought should be given to the particular situation and any potential restrictions. Thank you, and we'll also be waiting for your response. And if you have any questions as well, you can also, post your questions and we will give you a response as soon as possible. Thank you.